My name is Taylor Cook. It is May 7th at 6:03 p.m. in the year 2026, and I am with Kim Wilson. Do I have your permission to record you?
Yes.
All right, so when and where were you born?
I was actually born at Union General Hospital, I think.
You think?
I think. I don't remember really well back then, but I know I was born in Georgia on September 15th, 1971.
Okay. And where did you grow up?
I grew up on Bellevue.
Where's that?
Bellevue is it's a little community like Martins Creek or Brasstown, but it's over right next to the Georgia line.
Okay.
When you go on the Blairsville Highway, just that is Bellevue right there before you cross over into Georgia.
Okay, so you're still in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Did you ever move or live anywhere else?
I think I moved around just a little bit. Mama and Daddy moved. My daddy had issues, itchy feet. He liked to move around a lot. But he stayed for most of my life. We stayed on the hill, what we called Beaver's Hill, and we lived there from the time I was about 4 or 5 until I was 16. So we lived in the same place, and then we moved over a little ways still on Bellevue. And then when I got married, I moved to Martins Creek, and then we moved to Brasstown, and then Andrews.
Yeah. When did y'all move here? I can't remember.
It'll be 3 years, December 9th.
Okay.
I think.
That's nice. And where'd you go to school?
Martins Creek.
Okay.
And Murphy High. But I went to Martins Creek through the 8th grade.
What were your favorite and least favorite parts of it?
Of school?
Yeah.
I always enjoyed math.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's interesting.
Yeah. I like math. I could do math. Math made sense to me. But I did pretty well in school.
Yeah.
Without having to try too awfully hard, which is a good thing because
Yeah.
I'm lazy. I wouldn't have tried.
What were your least favorite parts?
Of school?
Yeah.
I am not very good with history and the social sciences.
Okay.
I really don't care why people do what they do.
Yeah.
I don't much care for people sometimes.
Yeah.
And if you had been with me an hour ago, you would have heard me. Why are you here? All these people. Where have they all come from?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I'm not really good with people. But I'm good with numbers.
There you go. We all have our gifts.
Yeah. Small though they may be.
So, what do you do for work? And, have you switched careers or?
Well, now I technically work in IT at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
My job has recently changed. I was doing everything IT at the hospital. I did software, hardware. I even worked on servers some. Did pretty much everything. And now we have changed software systems at the hospital, and my title is credentialed trainer.
Okay.
And my job has simplified greatly. But before that, basically I was a stay-at-home mom with the kids, and I worked part-time as a substitute teacher.
Was there anything that you wanted to be growing up, or?
I thought I wanted to be a teacher growing up.
And then did subbing change your mind, or?
Well, no, the subbing wasn't the problem, and strangely enough, I prefer middle school kids.
Mm-hmm.
The little ones cry.
Yeah.
If you tell them to sit down and be quiet, and if you tell the teenage kids to sit down and be quiet, they look at you like, who are you? But middle schoolers are still young enough to do what you tell them, but they're old enough not to cry about it. So
there you go.
I liked them the best. I could talk to them like they were people and they didn't freak out on me or anything. But no, me and Steve, when we got married, and then we were married for 2 years, and then Ben was coming along. So we talked about it, and he really wanted me to stay home with the baby. And then, in no time there was another baby.
Right.
And then before we were, there was another one, and it just seemed to work easier if I was there for what they needed.
I mean, that's a full-time job.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a underappreciated job.
Yeah.
In society today, but the mom who stays there and does it all for their kids, they're kind of heroes.
Yeah, for sure. So do you have any favorite memories from growing up?
Well, one thing that comes to mind immediately, because of what's been going on lately, is my uncle and aunt, Harley and Ruth.
Yeah.
And Ruth just very recently passed away. Harley passed in March. So, I mean, she didn't last very long without him.
Yeah.
And if you'd known them together, they were such a team.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think about them a lot. They did, they were very good to me, Harley and Ruth. And they kind of, I guess, played the part of favorite aunt and uncle.
Yeah.
As I was growing up, they spoiled me some, because I don't remember my grandparents. Any of my grandparents, they all died when I was very, very young, because of the way my family was spaced out. Mom and Daddy got married, and they had 4 kids in 6 years. And then they waited 8 years and had me. And then 5.5 more years and had my little sister. So Mom always said she had 2 families. It was that's kind of how it was for her. And then I guess our family was not your average family in many, many ways. But one of the biggest ways, the oldest child in my family, her name was Robbie Lynn. And when Mama got married, she was 18. She was a kid. And so she was a kid when she got pregnant with Robbie. And she didn't know she was pregnant. This was in 1957.
Yeah.
Okay? And it just so happened the way things worked, she got sick. There was a flu going around that year. They called it the Asian flu type A. And Mama caught it. She said that she woke up and she wasn't even able to get up and fix Daddy's breakfast.
Oh, gosh.
And Daddy worked, but they were extremely poor. They didn't have a car or anything. So Daddy would hitch a ride with one of his brothers to work. They all worked out at the talc mines, and ride back and forth with them. And so she told him she was too sick. She didn't know what was wrong. So he got up and he got him something to eat and packed himself a lunch, which, if you'd know my daddy, is miraculous, and went on to work. And she said that on up in the morning she knew something was, bad wrong, because she was so sick. And at one point in the day, she heard 2 of her sisters-in-law talking as they came walking out the road. They all kind of lived in the same area on Beaver's Hill.
Yeah.
And she tried to get up and go and get their attention at the window, and she passed out.
Oh, gosh.
Before she could get to the window. And that's actually where Daddy found her when he came home from work. So he had to go back out and chase down his brother to get him to help him take her to the emergency room. and she had 106 fever.
Oh, gosh.
So she was very, very sick, but also she didn't know it, but she was pregnant. And that was the time when the baby's brain was developing in utero. And so when Robbie was born, they didn't realize anything was wrong. She looked like a normal, healthy, chunky little baby, you know. Yeah. But she had trouble sucking. And so they had trouble feeding her, and just as time went on, you know, she had little issues. Well, as things happened, when Robbie was 2 months old, Mama got pregnant again with Kenny. And then, you know, Kenny was born. They were Irish twins, 11 months apart.
Yeah.
And Mama said Kenny was this, she called him her big-headed boy because he had a big old pumpkin head, you know, no hair or anything. And she said he was doing things like he learned to sit up and crawl and everything. And Robbie still couldn't do any of those things. And she was older than him. And that's when they really started, you know, being alerted to something being pretty wrong. And they took her back and forth to the doctor a lot. Robbie had epilepsy, and she had muscular dystrophy, cerebral palsy. There was a lot of issues with her. And the doctors actually told them that to take her home and love her, she wouldn't live to be 10 years old.
Oh.
That there was nothing they could do. But she lived to be 39 years old.
Yeah.
So, I think it was 39. No, it made it. No, 49 years old. 49.
Wow.
Yeah, she lived to be 49 years old. And, but if Mama said it often, if she had known what was wrong with Robbie, she would have never had another child.
Okay.
So that just shows you how God works.
Yeah.
Because she had 5 more, and none of us had those same issues. We have our own fair share of problems, you know, but we don't have any of those kinds of issues. But because of how Robbie Lynn was, she had to have constant care. Mentally, she developed in her lifetime to right about a 6-month-old baby.
Okay.
But her body grew.
Yeah.
And now she, you know, muscular dystrophy, she was very, very thin and skinny and everything. But she could roll over back and forth, and she could make sounds that we could interpret.
Yeah.
You know, she knew Ma, okay? She knew who Ma was. And she knew who Dad was.
Yeah.
But any other man, she hated him.
Oh.
I mean, she did not do men.
Okay.
Kenny, Keith, my brothers.
Really?
She did not do men. She didn't do Steve. She didn't do Stanley. She didn't do men. But now, Ma, she loved Ma.
Yeah.
And Audrey, she loved Audrey a lot. And I'm sorry, my husband came home. And she tolerated other women. When Robbie was about 36 years old, Mama had to put her in a nursing home.
Yeah.
Because she just could not physically take care of her anymore. You know, the lifting and the carrying and all of that had just got to be too much. But until she was 36, she had to have 24-hour care. So only one of my parents could work.
Right.
So, and there was 6 kids. So we grew up poor. And, you know, I know it was worse on the older kids, but it wasn't that bad. I mean, we still grew up happy and spoiled and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I don't remember ever going to bed hungry or not having clothes. Maybe not having the clothes I thought I wanted.
Right.
But we had everything that we ever needed.
Yeah.
But my daddy, um, Daddy was a strange person. He had some what people used to call queer ways
Yeah.
about him. It was just weird. For one thing, he was hardly ever serious.
Okay.
He was constantly cutting up and telling jokes and making people laugh, and he thought he was the funniest person on God's green earth, but he was sometimes a little mean.
Mm-hmm.
And also, he, from what I understand, I don't remember any of this, but he was a drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see him being a mean drunk. But it's about the time I was born, Daddy got saved.
Okay.
And the next day, he walked in the kitchen, next morning. Mama was fixing breakfast, and she said, "I about got it ready, Robert." He said, "I ain't worried about that." And he went over to the kitchen sink, and opened the cabinet, and reached down under it, and pulled out his bottle of liquor, and poured it down the sink. And that was the last time Daddy drunk.
That's cool.
So, and like I said, he got saved, but he never really demonstrated a desire to attend church. So I remember as a child, one of the things I would do, I loved to go to church.
Okay.
I mean, I just love to go to church. It just feels so good.
Mm-hmm.
And even as a little kid, I'd get up on Sunday mornings and I'd tell Mom, I'd say, "I want to go to church." And so she'd help me.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd sneak some dress clothes out of his bedroom while he was asleep. And she taught me how to iron them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd iron them, and I'd polish his shoes, and I'd get everything ready. And I'd take his clothes in there, and I'd lay them on his bed. And I figured out pretty quick to steal his dirty clothes that he had took off,
Mm-hmm.
because he'd put them right back on if you did. I'd steal his dirty clothes and hide them so that he didn't have any other option but to put on those church clothes so that I could bully him into taking me to church.
There you go.
And I did that. And then, let's see, for a while there, I think I was 8 years old, I believe. I remember being in the 3rd grade and all my friends coming in at school. Every Monday, it was a different one. Somebody else had been saved.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't get to go to church.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is going on here? I don't understand. So finally, I pushed Daddy so much, he got Harley and Ruth to pick me up. They were going to a church called Notla over on Bellevue. And they would pick me up and take me to church. And I remember sitting back there one Sunday thinking, I've seen now what they're doing. They're going up there. And so when they started playing the invitation song, I went up there and I knelt down, and then I got up and told them I got saved and everything. Yeah. And I was 8 years old. And I got baptized in the Maple Hole. There was a lot of us got baptized that day. And then I didn't go back to church for a while. And then I'd get Dave take me here and there every once in a while. And then Harley and Ruth started going to New Martins Creek Church. And they come and asked me if I wanted to go with them. So I went with them over there for a while. A little while, just a few months. And then they quit going. And I quit going. And then eventually they started going to Old Fashioned. And they came over and asked me and Creasy if we wanted to go. And I was 9, so Creasy would have been about 4.
Mm.
And they'd come pick us up and take us to church every Sunday morning and Sunday night. We went over there for a pretty good while. And I I had a friend that went over there too, Rhonda Barnhart, and her family went over there. And I was talking to her one day, and I told her I was thinking about joining old-fashioned church. And she said that she'd been thinking about that too, and if I did, she would. So, we got it planned up together, and she talked to her mama, and her mama said, well, if we would, she would.
Yeah.
So that was the plan, and we were in church that day, and Hoyt Brown was preaching, and something said, you cannot join the church. And I'm like, why not? And you've not been saved.
Yeah.
So I sat there, and they had the invitation, and then Hoyt opened the doors of the church, and Rhonda and her mama Janice went up, and I sat there. And they had everybody come around, and shake hands, and I sat there. And as soon as they said dismiss, I was out of there like a bullet, Run out to the truck and jumped in the truck and carried down. And so I'm sitting out there, and nobody even knew anything was going on except Rhonda and Janice. Because they knew that I was supposed to join too. Well, here come Janice. And she opened the truck door, and she was talking to me, and I was bawling, and she said, well, you can fix that right now.
Yeah.
So I went back in the church with her.
Is that Hoyt's wife, Janice?
No, this is Janice Barnhart.
Okay.
Rhonda's mother.
Okay.
She was a very dear lady. And went back in there, and I did get saved that time. And so that was in September, and I want to say it was the week before I turned 12, because I got baptized like the third weekend in October.
Okay.
Outside.
Oh.
You know where Bill and Alma Ritz? Well, there's a little pond down the hill, at the foot of the hill on the right there. Well, nobody lived there then.
Okay.
And Robbie Truitt took his backhoe over and dug that little pond out.
Yeah.
And that's where we got baptized.
Oh my gosh.
And it was so cold. Oh my gosh.
That's insane.
It was like 40 degrees. And but I remember that. And I went to Old Fashioned until I married Steve. When I was 17. So.
Where'd you start going after that?
Well, it's interesting. We got married on a Saturday on August the 5th, and we didn't go to church the next day. We just got married.
Yeah.
We didn't go anywhere for a honeymoon, but, So then the next week, come Sunday morning, and I got up, started through the house, and Steve said, what are you doing? I said, I'm getting up and getting ready. Well, where are you going? I said, I'm going to church. And he said, well, what church are you going to? I said, well, I guess I'll go to Old Fashioned. Like that. He went, well, if you'll wait till I can get ready and you'll go with me to my church, I'll go with you. And we did. We went to New March Creek.
Yeah.
And we went over there ever since.
There you go.
And it was his church. It was Steve's church. And, I knew that the woman was supposed to be more flexible and bend a little bit on that. I was okay with that. And we were over there one Sunday, this back when Larry Williams was pastor.
Okay, yeah.
You've heard of him, but I don't know how well you know Larry Williams. He's hard-headed.
Yeah.
Okay? He's a good man. But we were sitting in the back, and they were going to have a conference. So I was just sitting back there. Steve was a member. I was not. I was just going to sit there. And Jim, I believe it was Jim Cook, was the church clerk, and he stood up and read a request for a letter for Sharon Chastain Robertson. who had got married, and she wanted to join her husband's church.
Yeah.
And they voted on it. And then after that, Larry stood back there and told us how that was a woman's place, that she was supposed to follow her husband, and there were people in there that needed to join their husband's church. And he's looking right at me, eyeball to eyeball.
Oh, gosh.
So I did not join the church until after Larry Williams left.
Oh, wow.
I was pettish.
Well.
But I felt like he didn't have any business saying that.
Okay, yeah.
That was too much, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I did join after he left. Been a member over there 30. Well, I was a member before Ben was born. Mm-hmm. He'll be 34 this month. So.
Wow.
I've been a member for probably about 35 years.
Yeah. So, what do you feel like the role has been for the church in your life? Like,
it has been my anchor. Mm-hmm. My, the church is what keeps me grounded, yeah, and centered and focused. It is a huge part of my life. And when we got married, after about a year, we started trying to have a baby.
Yeah.
And it wasn't happening. And, me being 19 years old, I knew everything. I was panicking that there's something bad wrong with me, and I do remember, I remember praying when I was dating Steve. I really liked him.
Yeah.
A lot. But I didn't know, you don't ever know if he's the right one or not. So I did the only thing that I knew to do. And I remember going in my closet and getting down and praying, Lord, if this is not the man you want me to have, you need to get him out of my life.
Yeah.
Because I really like him.
Yeah.
And if he's not the right one, you're going to have to do something. And he never did anything. So I married him, and it's been nearly 37 years.
Yeah.
And but when we was wanting a baby, I was praying, and I told God, I said, if you will give me a baby, I will take it to church. Mm. I cannot promise you any more than that, but I will take the baby to church, and he will know who you are.
Yeah.
And so he did. He gave us a boy. He blessed us with 3 healthy, beautiful children. And we took them to church all the time. We were involved in church. I guess that's why it kind of hurts so much about, deciding to leave the Baptist faith. And
I thought you said you were leaving the Baptist faith.
No,
like, what?
Ben and his family, because, he's the one I felt like I was dedicating back to the Lord. So, but God knows all things. Mm-hmm. And I have finally come to peace with that. God's going to fix it.
Mm-hmm. So what draws you to, the Baptist faith, specifically?
Well, for a long time, I guess I didn't even really say I was a Baptist. Mm-hmm. I said I was a Christian. Because I just wanted to try to live like Jesus.
Yeah.
And then, as I aged and read and studied, and over there at our church, I've had lots of opportunities to teach in Bible school and Sunday school and different things, and that helps me more than anything.
Yeah.
I study more for that than I do for anything else. And so as I read more and thought and prayed and studied and dwelled on things, I'm a Baptist because I believe that way.
Yeah.
I'm not a premillennial.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that way. I have so much trouble comprehending how anyone could believe that way. And so, I'm not, but our church is not.
Yeah.
As a whole. And it's just, over the years, it's become my church.
Yeah.
Not my husband's church,
Mm-hmm.
my church.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I know growing up, like, I've been there my whole life, and I think of, like, the people in it, and it's like you're one of the key people. I mean, you taught me piano. You did.
Well, I tried.
Well, it was my fault, not yours.
Well, and remember, I was kind of pushed into that a little bit, too, because, my first student hated my guts.
Who was your first student?
April.
Oh.
She said, Mom, I want to quit taking piano lessons. I don't like my teacher.
Oh.
Okay. So I guess I'm not too good at teaching piano.
No, you did good. I don't know. Middle school me and high school me did not want to practice. Had no discipline.
Honestly, I didn't practice for the longest time. I took lessons like every summer for 4 years from a woman named Gaynell Martin. And after the 4th summer, I could still, just play very basic things. And so I went for 3 months to a woman named Debbie Green.
Mm-hmm.
And she's taught me the style that I play now. So that it's easier for me.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's one of, like, the gifts God was giving you?
Well, my mama always said that she paid for piano lessons because I couldn't carry a tune in a bucket.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always wanted to sing. I'm just not good at it.
I think you are.
But my younger sister, Chrissy, now she used to sing at church, and she had a real pretty voice.
Yeah.
But, half of them's gone now. So.
Well, do you feel like God's giving you any other gifts?
I think it is a gift that I can get up in front of people and talk.
Yeah.
And, I don't have nerves about anything like that. And I think that's a gift, and I try to use it for the Lord.
Yeah.
I fail a lot. I'm human. But I do try.
Yeah. So going back to, like, when we were talking about when you got saved, do you remember what it felt like?
I remember that when I came back into that church, it was all I could do to walk.
Yeah.
I felt so weighed down, so heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure when I got up out of that altar that I just floated.
Yeah.
Because it was just, it's really hard to describe that feeling. But it's like you see on cartoons, when a cartoon character falls in love and there's all these little hearts and, and bubbles, and they're just floating around and everything's so happy, and that's what it feels like. That's how light my heart felt.
Yeah.
When I got saved, and I have not doubted it since then. Before, I did.
Yeah.
But I have not doubted that. I know there's very little in this life that I truly know, but I know I'm saved.
Yeah.
I don't have any fears there, so.
How would you, like, describe your relationship with God, like, now?
Well, pretty much he holds me up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I fell daily. I'm just a hot mess. I know it. But he holds me up and he keeps me going, and I don't know how anybody makes it without him. I honestly, I can't comprehend that. So.
Yeah. So how has your relationship with God, do you feel like, how has it changed since when you first got saved to now?
Well, I think it's deepened a lot. I mean, it's kind of like me and Steve.
Right.
You know, when we got married, we were young and in love, and we were going to conquer the world, you know, and all that. And we've had ups and we've had downs, and we've had quite a few arguments.
Right.
And I would have to say 89 to 90% of those were my fault. But all those difficulties and the problems that we've had has changed the way we love each other.
Yeah.
It's deepened it. And I think that my relationship with God, in the beginning, it was, here I am, I've got nothing to offer you, Lord. You've done everything for me. Do you want me?
Yeah.
And now it's like, Lord, I know there's so many things I need to do for you. Help me do what I need to do for you so that I can, try to show you what you mean to me. Because he's just done. I mean, I've had there's an old song, and the chorus says, I beg your pardon, I never promised you a rose garden.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of people think they want a rose garden, and I would have to say that that's pretty much what my life has been, a rose garden.
Mm-hmm.
Full of big thorns. That draws blood a lot of times.
Oh, jeez.
But you've got these pretty blooms.
Yeah.
And they smell really nice. But there's a lot of thorns in there. And I would have to say that has been my life. But most of my thorns have been my fault, He's planted them in rows if I would just stay in between. But no, not me. I'd get in there and waller around. So, yeah. But yeah, I guess that'd be how I would describe my life, a rose garden.
Okay. So, when you talk about the ways that God has been there for you, do you have, specific examples you'd want to share? Or?
Sure. I'll give you one.
Okay.
I'll try.
Okay.
In 2003, we were at home in the bed. We get up at 6. It wasn't 6, so it's 5 or something. And the phone started ringing. And it was Chrissy, my little sister. She lived with Mom and Daddy then. And she said, Kim, I wanted to let you know I've called an ambulance for Mama. I said, what's the matter? She got pneumonia because she had this little hacking cough. Not a deep cough, just a And I'd been over there the day before. I used to go get their groceries for them, and I had been over there the day before to get her groceries. And she was doing that little old cough. I said, Mama, you've got to call the doctor and go see the doctor about that. I said, It's just not getting any better. I'm not going to the doctor till I get me a new outfit. So I went to town. I got her groceries. I bought her an outfit.
Mm-hmm.
I come over her, carrying her groceries in. Had that outfit in a little Walmart bag. I tossed it over there in her lap. And I said, there's your outfit, old woman. Now call the doctor.
Yeah.
And she said, I'm not going to the doctor till I get a permanent in my hair. Me and her just picking and arguing and fighting the way we always did.
Yeah.
So when Chrissy called, I thought, maybe that had developed into pneumonia or something. And she said, I don't know what is wrong with Mama, but there's something wrong. She said, Keith's been down here, and I've just went ahead and called an ambulance. And I said, it's nearly time to get up. I got to get Steve off to work and take the kids to school, and I'll be on over.
Mm-hmm.
She said, all right, but I just wanted you to know. So we went in the living room. I was telling Steve what was going on. And the phone rang again. And it was Creasy. And she said, don't be in no hurry now. She's dead.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't really remember what happened. The kids said I woke them up. The next thing I knew, I was in the bathroom, and Steve was pushing my head down between my knees. So apparently I just kind of fell apart. But I sucked it up, and I said, I've got to go on. Can you take the kids to school? He said, you go. I've got this. You go. So I got in the car. I got dressed and got in the car and started over. And I was driving too fast. And I turned off on Lynn Stalkup Road. And it was as clear as you sitting right there.
Mm-hmm.
I heard Mama say, now, Kim. I ran out of the road. It scared me to death. I was looking everywhere for her. She said, now, Kim, you got to beat this. Your daddy's going to need you. I went on over there, and their driveway went over like a little hill and down into a holler. I could see the ambulance, the lights flashing down there, so I just pulled over at the top of the hill, and I went running down through, or started running down through there, and his truck come backing up. And it was Kenny. He had Keith in the truck with him. He rolled the window down, and I said, is she okay? And Kenny said, he just shook his head. And I said, yes, she is. She's okay. The ambulance is still here. They've not took her yet. And he said, now, Kim, we're just going to take care of what needs to be took care of. I said, you don't know what you're talking about. And I just turned and run down the hill. Well, Audrey grabbed me to the hill, and her and Chrissy drug me in the house. I was trying to get in the ambulance to see my mother,
Mm-hmm.
and they wouldn't let me. And she had passed. The doctor said she'd had a heart attack. And I had a really, really hard time with that. Because all the rest of them got to see her. But they wouldn't let me see her. And I was very, very bitter about that for a long time. And I blamed God.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really didn't care what anybody said. He could have let me get there, was my thought on the whole thing. He could have let me get to see her before she died. Well, 6 years went by, 2009. And it was the 1st of February. I was over at Chrissy's house. She had Eric. It was his 2nd birthday. And that Chrissy, Daddy gave Chrissy the house
Mm-hmm.
and everything in it. So she got everything of Mama's. And she's living over there with Eddie, and she had Jaron and Eric. Eric was turning 2. They were having a birthday party. And the phone rang, and Chrissy got it. And she said, I don't understand why you people cannot comprehend this. She's dead. She's been dead for years. She does not live here anymore. And she hung up the phone. And I looked at her and I said, Who was that? I don't know. Somebody from the hospital. They keep calling, wanting Mama. And I said, somebody from the hospital? And all of a sudden it just dawned on me. I said, is Robbie sick? And we had just got the internet at the house. We just got a computer. We had dial-up internet.
Oh, yeah.
And we had 3 kids. And they were doing homework a lot of the time. And so I was Robbie's sponsor after Mama passed. They'd been trying to call me, and they couldn't get through. And so they tried over there. So anyhow, I grabbed Chrissy's phone, and I called the nursing home, and they said Robbie was in the hospital. She had pneumonia. So me and Audrey went flying up there, and Robbie was in the hospital with pneumonia. They had oxygen on her. They had IVs in her, and she was not liking any of it. Mm-hmm. She was throwing fits and trying to pull everything out. And they put big gloves on her so that she couldn't take things out. And so for a week, 7 days, me and Audrey stayed at the hospital. We would stay 36 hours at a time, stay all night, and we'd stay all day. One of us would stay that night, another would go home. Then we'd stay the next day, and then the other one would go home. Mm-hmm. So we stayed like that for a week with her. And like I said, she was fighting. I mean, everybody and everything. And she got better. And they released her and sent her back to the nursing home where she lived. And then it was a week later, she aspirated again, got food in her lungs, developed pneumonia again. And it was another week of us staying like that. Chrissy had little kids. She couldn't stay. Me and Audrey did. And it was February the 16th, Saturday morning. I'd been at home, and I woke up just out of the blue at like 15:05. And I couldn't go back to sleep, and I knew I needed to get to the hospital. So I told Steve that I was going to go on, and I got ready, and I went on up there, or to Blyersville, to that hospital. And Audrey wasn't in the room, so I waited on her. She came back. She'd been out smoking or something. And Robbie she had slipped into a coma. And you could hear the death rattle. And we knew it wasn't going to be long. And Keith was supposed to bring Daddy up there. And we were in there with her. We had an altercation, we'll say nicely, with a surgeon from Atlanta. The day before. I had requested they put in a feeding tube because they tried to put in a temporary one through the nose, and they couldn't get it in. And so I had requested a permanent feeding tube directly into the stomach, and they had asked this surgeon if he would do it, and he came in there, and he looked at Robbie. He took one look at Robbie, and he said, "Why would you want me to do that?" And I said, "Because she's going to die. She's not getting any nutrition." I said, "Every time she eats, she aspirates. She has to have food." He said, "But her quality of life is so poor. Why would you even care?" And I lost all control. Mm-hmm. I told him to get out and to not come back in her room ever again. Because he was so unfeeling. Yeah. And yes, Robbie didn't have the quality of life that we think is ideal. Mm-hmm. But she was our baby. We grew up different because we had Robbie. And so that had already caused some problems. But anyhow, when I got up there that Saturday morning, I could tell that it was a matter of minutes probably. And it came time, and I had Robbie up. I was holding her head and rocking her back and forth, and Audrey lost it for a little bit. I had to fuss at her and say, what if she's hearing you? What if she can hear what you're saying? You got to stop this. And I remember telling her that it was okay. She had fought long enough, and it was okay. And when she died, I could feel her leaving my arms and going to Mama's. And I can remember that all the years with Robbie and my whole life, the sicknesses that she had and the times we'd spent in the hospital and everything, and me ranting and raving about how unfair it was. I can remember Mama always saying, I just want to see her first steps. And she did. And when Robbie died, God said, now do you see? And I did. And I've never turned my back on him since, because I could see. I mean, it was as real as anything.
Yeah.
God was answering prayers, Mama's prayers, and Robbie went easy. And it was after that. It was in 2015 that Keith died, and that was rough on all of us. And then Daddy died in 2016, and that one, it was a lot like when Robbie went.
Mm-hmm.
I was there. Me and Chrissy were hugging on him and loving on him, and somehow for me that's a lot easier.
Yeah. But
then when Chrissy died, that was hard. And if it hadn't been for God and my family, I wouldn't have made it through that. But He knows what He's doing, and He's not required to tell us.
Right.
We may think He needs to tell us, but He's not required. He knows what He's doing, and if you get to thinking about the sheer volume of what He's doing in how many lives, we kind of need to just say, thank you, God, for ever thinking a little thought about me.
Yeah.
Because you've got so much to be getting on with. So, but yeah, that was the story of my coming to grips.
Yeah.
And things making sense for me. So.
Yeah, I see that. So when God talks to you, is it normally like a clear voice like that, or is that just like a...
No. Normally he tries, to just kind of guide. But there have been times when I've just heard him.
Yeah.
And hard to mistaken.
What does he sound like?
He sounds very loving.
Yeah.
And he's very loving and very good.
Yeah.
And I don't deserve him.
Me either. So what role does like prayer and scripture, what does that play in your life? Like how does that?
I pray probably, people might think I pray a whole lot. One of my best times is in the car.
Yeah.
There ain't nobody with me. I love my husband. He's wonderful, but you get him in a car and he cranks it up and turns the radio on.
Yeah.
I don't. I seldom have a radio on at all. And because that's usually my prayer time. We talk while I'm going down the road. And, we talk a lot of other times during the day too.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my big time. I am a lazy Bible reader.
Okay.
I am lazy. I admit that. I have the app on my phone,
Mm-hmm.
and I can search and find the things that's going through my mind, find exactly where it's so much faster, and I rely on that way too much.
Mm-hmm.
I should read my Bible, the physical Bible, more than I do. But, no, I kind of cheat.
Does it feel different when you do one versus the other?
It's all him.
Yeah.
It's all him. It's just, some people say you need to sit down with your Bible and study and read, and I'm not very good at that. So, unless I have to teach, and I know I'm gonna have to teach.
Yeah.
And then, I study a whole lot. So
Yeah.
I've actually got a Bible encyclopedia. Don't tell Kenny.
Okay.
I borrowed it from Mama.
He might listen to
If he does, then I'm whooped. But I borrowed it from Mama before she died, and then after she died, I just didn't give it back. So
I'll just put in the description of this, Kenny, you're not allowed to listen.
yeah, I have it, Kenny, but you ain't getting it. How's that? He actually has Mama's Bibles, so he can't say too much.
Okay.
So.
What was I about to ask? Oh, so, what's your favorite, I just call them Jesus songs, because, if you say hymn, those are the old ones, but then, there's new Jesus songs, too, I feel like.
Maria sings it. I'm trying to think of the name. I love you, God. The goodness of God. That song always gets me and tears me up.
Do you have, a favorite verse?
Not of that song.
No, verse of the Bible.
In the Bible?
Yeah.
Oh, I have so much. I have a little Bible. Mom and Daddy got me a Bible for my 17th birthday. And I've still got it. And I've written in it and underlined and drawn all through it, and got little stars all in there. And I guess Ruth would be my favorite book.
Mm-hmm.
The book of Ruth. I don't know. I really feel kin to her.
I'm in that one right now for my study.
Are you?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I love Ruth. She's just so... And, having the Aunt Ruth, that was also so good.
Yeah.
It kind of... But then, I'll tell you another thing that happened. One year, our TV broke just before school got out.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, you had those great big TVs.
Yeah.
Console, and Daddy had to take it and get it fixed and worked on because they were very expensive and everything. And he refused.
Okay.
He said he was not getting the TV fixed that summer. And we cried lots.
Yeah.
Did no good. That's one time I can remember Daddy standing really firm. He was determined that Chrissy and I would be kids that summer.
Mm-hmm.
So we were. But one thing that we did, we had a record player, or I did, and one night it was storming. It came summer storm. It was still raining, and Mama got out some old records, and she had a lot of records of the Tri-State Quartet. She loved them.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a favorite song, Hallelujah Square.
Yeah.
And so they sung Hallelujah Square that night, on that record, and the mama played it, and she just kept playing it over and over and over because she loved that so much. Second verse of that song says, "I saw a cripple dragging his feet. He couldn't walk like we do down the street." And we noticed Chrissy was in a corner, curled up. She had her legs drawn up, and she was bawling her eyes out. And Mama went over her, "Honey, what's wrong?" "Mama, will Robbie be able to walk in heaven?" Because she was our cripple. And Mama said, yes, and I want to be there to see her first steps. You know, that was one of the things Mama was on. And then Chrissy just really started bawling. She said, "I won't get to see her because I'm not saved."
Oh, wow.
But she got saved that night.
Wow.
And I won't ever forget that. But, you know, people like that surgeon talking about Robbie's quality of life. Okay, maybe she didn't get to go to school and graduate and get married and have children, you know, and all that. And maybe her quality of life wasn't as good as what we think it should have been. But I've remained firmly convinced that if Robbie hadn't been the way she was, Chrissy may not have ever got saved. I may not have ever got saved. I know I wouldn't have gotten near as much trouble at school because it was the 80s, and the word was retard.
Yeah.
Everybody called one another retard. And that was okay. Except there was a little boy on our bus who was autistic. And he didn't help himself at all. I mean, he was a strange little boy anyway. He was one of those that would crawl around under the bus seats and try to look up girls' pants legs, you know. He was a strange little boy anyhow. But then there was a bigger boy on the bus, and he was always calling him retard and tardo and all that stuff. And I just couldn't listen to stuff like that. So I got in a lot of fights on the bus.
Like physical?
Yeah, because he called him a retard, and I was over the back of the seat, and I was up in his face, and we was going at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he couldn't help it.
Yeah.
And Robbie couldn't help it.
Yeah.
And because you ain't don't give you a right to talk that way about people. That was my thought process. So
did you win?
A lot of the time, yeah. I think his daddy had told him not to hit girls.
Yeah.
I hope he had, because he didn't hit me. He'd shove me and he'd try to push me off him, but you know.
So if there's one thing you could tell Christians today, what would you tell them?
I would probably tell them that you're not going to understand everything. You don't need to understand everything. And you don't deserve to understand everything. What you need to know, and you need to know it in your head and in your heart, is that everything's working for His good. He knows what's going on, and He can take the bad things, the bad choices people make, the bad things people do, and He can work it for good.
Yeah.
And you just have to hang on to your knowledge that He knows what He's doing.
Yeah.
And quit questioning Him. He's got this. He's got it all if you'll just let Him do.
And what would you tell people who are lost?
How How do you make it through a day? I honestly don't understand. I'm not trying to be a smart aleck. I truly don't understand how an adult can physically get through the day without that hope. Because everywhere you look, it's bad.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that knowledge that he knows and he's working it for good, how? How do you? And my goodness, it's so much easier to just let him do it.
Yeah.
You, if you try it, you'd understand what I'm saying. Your life will simplify.
Yeah. What do you feel like the biggest like misconception about like either Baptist or Christian is in the world in general?
Well, it's this, probably the same thing that it's always been, that we are dull. Christians are dull. They can't have any fun. They're boring. They spend all their life in church praying. And
They ain't never heard us on Christmas caroling. We just start going.
all I can say to that is, y'all, you really need to find a church.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say find a church, I don't mean go find a building.
Yeah.
I mean find a church, the church body, the people
Mm-hmm.
that think like you and that understand you, and give them a very small amount of your life. And if you ain't got nowhere else to go, come to us.
Yeah.
New Martins Creek is the least dull and stodgy place there's ever been. But we're all crazy we all have fun and we have a blast. I mean, and we love for new people to come. We'll just take you right in.
Yeah.
But you got to be crazy to stay.
Right.
Okay? I'm sorry, but it's going to help.
Some of us are just born into it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all the questions I have. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I think I've talked way too much.
No, you have not. That's great. Well, thank you.
My whole life history.
I love it. This is what I'm here for. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.